Hey guys, this is Adam Lane with PocketNow.com, and we are going to do a little comparison between Apple's iOS and Windows Phone Mango. So let's get to it. First off, we're going to try to boot them up at the same time. So here I go. And we're booting. This is going to be iOS 4. We decided not to use iOS 5 because it's a little too buggy. And this is Windows Phone Mango Beta. This is an iPod Touch 4th generation, and this is a Samsung Focus. So here we are, we're booted up. Goes straight to some live tiles. This is button mashing there. And here we are at lock screen. And we're going to do that. Okay, so there's the interface. Let's go back to the lock screen real quick. Hello. Now here's some design differences. Ooh. This one, iOS, has some chrome. We got some, like a chromy transparent bar behind the clock there. What that does is it makes it easier to read if you have a distracting background image. So, better contrast there. And at the bottom we have a big arrow button with slide to unlock. That's written in text there so you can read it. And that's a good indication of how to unlock it. Windows Phone, on the other hand, has just a big background picture. There's a clock and date and your next appointment and some icons at the bottom, but nothing really telling you how to unlock it until you touch it and a little bounce happens. So that's your clue that there's something underneath there, so you should push it up. And there we go. So different ways of doing the communication of what you're supposed to do, but both pretty effective. You'll see on iOS 5 you'll get notifications on the home screen, the lock screen there as well, which we do have a little bit of on Windows Phone Mango already. Now here's where we're really different. The interface design on Apple's iOS is very square grid of icons. There are a lot of glossy little reflections there, little tiny labels for each icons. And this is very similar to what the graphical user interface has been since the dawn of the graphical user interface. Every app has an icon, every icon is an app. So we got multiple screens of those there. You can tab and hold, and they all jiggle, and we can move them around. So that's your customization of the interface here, but it's really all about the apps. Okay. And there's your search. Alright, we'll get into that later. On Windows Phone, on the other hand, we see this big grid of large square tiles. They kind of look like window panes on an old house that just aren't held together by anything. Just floating in space there. So that might be your little tie to Windows. Houses might look like Windows, even though it doesn't look like anything like Windows of old. So the difference here is these tiles can represent all sorts of things. Some of them represent groups of people. Some of them represent apps or music or pictures. Or here we have hubs, and this one's showing weather. We got all sorts of different things going on here. You got a tile for a new note. This is a Facebook photo album. This is a OneNote page. These are apps right there with showing different content. So we got all sorts of things. And with Mango, third-party developers are going to be able to create live tiles for almost any kind of thing they want. For example, they could make one that is a boarding pass for a flight. And all you do is tap it and it goes straight to the code that people can scan. So there's lots of interesting stuff here. But one thing that's we should mention, this little arrow, brings us to the applications listing. Over here we have the applications listing only. That's everything is the applications listing. Over here they're sorted alphabetically. That's the only way you can sort them. And we have little jump list buttons. You can go straight to the N letters. And we have a little search button. So you can find the app you're looking for. You can search the marketplace for it if there's something you're looking for and it's not there already. And that's kind of similar to the search on the iPhone, except this searches everything at once. So it'll search people as well as apps and all sorts of different things. Okay, so there's a difference there in the search. Let's look at the multitasking interface, or the recent apps switching interface. Both of these have that, and it's implemented in a slightly different way. Okay, let me try to launch the fast task switching interface both at the same time. There we go, that was pretty good. So there's another difference here. On iOS, we have 4 little icons that pop up from the bottom and push off whatever you're doing. Both of these can be accessed from any app. So no matter where you are, you can get to the multitasking task switcher, task manager, whatever you want to call it. Over here we see 4. Over here we see 1 and part of another one. So right there you have 4 options right away. This one you only have 2. However, you can see a lot of what the other apps are in this style interface. And you can pretty easily swipe between them. Over here you only see the icon, and you can also swipe for more. So you get 4 for each swipe. So that's a little bit less work to get to the other apps over here. But you get a little bit more data, a little bit more of what you're switching to in this style interface. Whichever is better is your preference. So next, let's look at the App Store. Okay, so here's the App Store on iOS. We see some big advertisements for different types of things that you might want to buy. And we see a little rows of gray and light gray Excel spreadsheet kind of style. And over here we have categories. Similar thing, we can dig into different categories. And we have different categories up here as well. What's hot, but what's cool, what's really neat is the Genius button. This is going to look at what you already have, what you've already downloaded, and kind of recommend other apps that you might like. So see, it's recommending XBlaze because I have Windows Live Messenger. So that's pretty cool feature. You got the top ones, you got the search button right there. So that's your App Store on Apple's iOS. And over here is the Windows Phone Mango App Store. We see, a few categories here. And you got Samsung Zone. This is where third parties can make their own app stores. So Samsung made this their own little app store, and that's right integrated with the marketplace. And we have a panoramic design here where you can see some featured apps, featured games, and even music. It's all integrated into one marketplace. And there's the app of the day. Really nicely designed here. Here's the search button, and this will do prediction as well as toggling between searching for music and podcasts and apps. Whereas this one, you're only going to search apps. And we can dig, we can go to just apps and get another panoramic design with our categories and the new ones. what's top. Same for games. Pretty cool looking hub designs here. Now for music, we have to go to this other app. There's music over here. We got that little button. And we can go back. So this is your home page. Featured music. There's some 69-cent songs. We got the top ones here. But we can go to the same album over here. And you see this is a very content only kind of design. There's no extra stuff going on. Alright, both of these places allow you to download music. You can buy it over here. And since I have a Zune Pass over here, I can actually just download it. I don't have to sign in. If I go here and I want to buy that, I press that button. And then I gotta enter my password and I gotta pay for it. This one I can just hit it and download. I can also preview it, but since I have the Zune Pass, it's gonna play the whole song actually, whereas this is only gonna play about 60 seconds worth. And speaking of playing songs, let's look at the music player. So this one's already going. That's streaming some. Let me turn the volume down. So you can see what this one's looking like. Whereas over here we have just the album cover. You can tap to go to that. You can tap that to go to the album listing. And we can go landscape mode. And you get this cover flow 3D kind of thing. Pretty smooth looking, really cool. And let's get to the music hub for this one. It's slightly different. Much different actually. This is our music library. A very different design. And this has actually some integration with other apps. If you look here, some of these videos that show up in the news section were actually put there by the New York Times app. And you see some other apps can integrate with this really easily. Music, we still have our categories, pretty much the same everywhere. And we also have a nice little lock screen integration. We have the album art. Actually, it's not even album art. It's just artwork of the artist showing up on your lock screen as you switch songs. Really nice little effect. Okay, so lastly, let's try the web browser. They both launch pretty quickly. And here I have a site already loaded. And this has some nice JavaScript going. So let's just take a look how well these work. These have kind of a Ken Burns effect going on. You can see this is kind of choppy, the motion there. Whereas this is pretty smooth. So that's some JavaScript animation. Let's try another site. Both of these are on Wi-Fi. And let's try the desktop version. Pretty quick. Who's going to finish first? Loading. And there's the iOS. followed by IE9. But now, how smooth are they? Let's see a video. So we're loading it again. This one I clicked first, so that should be finished first anyway. So we have i9 seems to be a little bit slower on the downloads, but processing certain things may be faster. Let's try these videos. Well, this video came up a lot quicker. Let's try one more site. And go. Oh, pretty close. iOS 1, but we were pretty good speeds there. iOS a lot faster over here. So download speeds, we have a pretty good advantage on iOS. Well, that's not what I wanted. Let's just try some of these HTML5 demos. Here's our fish IE. And this is IE9 doing the fishes really quickly, but Safari is not very good at that. We'll have to look at this again with iOS 5, since that will have much improved HTML5 support. Anyway, that's our comparison between Apple iOS and Windows Phone Mango. That's it for now. Hope you enjoyed this video. Give us a thumbs up if you did.